Are y'all ready for this?
Greetings and salutations, it's Donks here. I hope you are well, having a lovely weekend. I'm absolutely hyped for this video. I am joined with two very, very special people, and I mean that in the nicest way. I've known them both for a long time. We've played games together. It's not our first rodeo. First guy, I've been on his channel, and now he's doing me the favour, returning that favour and come back on mine. Really good guy, got some great content out there. How you doing, Darlie? You good?
Yeah, no, I'm good. It's been an early couple, 2 mornings with all the leaks, but it's been fun nonetheless. So, yeah,
You
no,
are
it's I'm really good.
monster at the moment, ain't you, brother?
It's getting out of hand.
You gotta be careful. You're gonna get a reputation as a bad boy. you don't need that in your life.
No, I'm far too old for that rep.
Far too old for that rep. And the other person I'm introducing today, again, go back a long time. Really good creator for many games, actually. Very, very insightful. Goes deep into kits and game mechanics, etc. I've been very interested in his content. It's Kyger. How are you, Kyger? How's it going, brother?
What's going on, guys? Kyger here, and while Dylar is looking at leaks for summoners, trying to bring them back alive, I'm trying to figure out what this collaboration announcement next week's going to be.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, what do you think they're bringing Ninja Turtles into the game? I mean, that's what they did with Street Fighter. So. Who knows? What does that even mean? Does that mean like a featured character? I mean, it's from somewhere else.
I don't know what they're gonna do. I really don't.
As long as they promote it and people join the game, I'm happy.
Exactly.
That's true. That's true. A healthy community means a better game. We all know that, don't we? In respect of previous games we played, RIP, Marvel Future Revolution.
Dead and buried as of yesterday.
Yeah, I know people that were farming when it died. I was like, why were you farming when it died? But anyway, that's another conversation for another day, and probably not what people are here to see today. But what they are here to see today is the opinions of you wonderful people and possibly myself about the subject in matter, which is best in class. Obviously, Darlie, you do a lot of videos about tier lists, etc. But I'm looking at it slightly differently in respect of basically content related. Who is best for what content? And starting with PvP. So we all shuffle our papers and go into sort of arena, and then we have a look at the areas. So Hell Arena's hot at the moment. Obviously, we're all running different teams. We've had to find an extra team, haven't we? Because we've had 3 in Galactic, 3 in Summit, which is also going on at the moment. So what's your feelings about Hell Arena? Where are we at?
Go ahead, Kyger.
So with Hell Arena, there's a couple things with it. I think it's kind of weird that we have the 3 tickets a day for 5 days, and the weekend is kind of off. So I think it should be 21-person groups, so that we would have full, 3 tickets a day, and it's fine. But as far as the good side of it is, I like that we have these. Like right now, we have the attack speed but lower energy. I would really like it if it was swapped up weekly, but it's every 2 months. So I guess that's fine. I like having that, building around that. But I think the main question was what teams we're using, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example about what I'm using at the moment, and I know we've talked about it a little bit. I'm using a tank team with the 3 tanks, which obviously Taresh, Panda, and Wom. I'm using Jaina and Rez at the back. However, I know I was saying that it might be potentially a risk because Jaina could get nuked, so I might look at changing that next week. I've got a summoners team with Rebecca, which seems to be doing surprisingly well. I'm using the assassins team, obviously, with Helentis and Fiona. So basically 4 assassins and that. And I'm using a kind of a vanguard team with Leo, Barog, Ares, with Miranda and Nord at the back, but that's not doing particularly well. That's one of the least effective teams I've got going on. So what are you guys using?
I'm using assassins and tanks, which are the 2 tip of the spear meta teams, and then I'm using. I did have energy on defense, but I switched that up because it suffers too much from the energy nerf or the energy regeneration nerf. So assassins, tanks, hunters, because hunters can still kill summoners, and people like to bring in summoners. And then I have summoners, and summoners can still kill assassins quite well if they don't have Helentis or Korra. So if it doesn't have Helentis and Korra, summoner's still good. And I'm running all those 4 on defense too. Really, tanks and assassins are the main ones. You mix and match them to get the most use out of them, and then you just try to figure out what to do with the rest. So those are my 4 teams.
So you two, I'm in an unfortunate situation where I don't actually have a Korra. So how do you find her at the moment?
I only have an immortal Korra, and she's really not usable until she's over 6 copies. So 7 is better, obviously, than 6, but under 6, she was completely useless, which is unfortunate because we're talking $3,000 for an 8 copy one, $1,500 for a 4 copy one. I'd hate to drop, over $1,500 into the game for a useless character, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's crazy. I know you've been working quite recently. You've done quite a few videos on Korra as well. So how are you finding her, Tiger?
So what Deller just said about 4 copies, 8 copies, that's all entirely true. We didn't say this, but this is our second recording of this conversation. So
yes, I didn't want to say that. I messed it up the first time.
I'm trying to find what we have said, what we haven't said. But with something to keep in mind is there's no character that we have in the game that is super OP whatnot at 4 copies. Same thing with the SP. What I believe is that the SP is effectively a triple S all the way up to 7 copies, but that 8th copy gives you a extra talent compared to all triple S's, as well as EX40, which is more damage amp, more everything else, as well as extra ability. And assassins as a team is more some of your parts kind of thing. You have Dominic that won't be attacked if you have other assassins. You have Rickert that gives everyone soul swords and gets crit rate from them. What is it? Not Helentis. Caraxia gives everyone 15% HP attack and life after death mechanics. So I think she's really, really good, but you have to really invest in her to get her to do what she needs to do.
Okay. So continuing on sort of the arena discussion, if you like, how do you feel about single target arena? Because the rewards are not that great, are they, in terms of single target?
No, really, Galactic Arena and 1v1 Arena is really just more about showing off your EPing, in my opinion, since the rewards are kind of crap. It's all about people logging in and seeing you on that pedestal, and it's like, look at me, look at me. I understand at the beginning of the game where they might have been useful giving basic summons, and because I think if you get up in the top 5, I do believe you get basic summons every day, but it's kind of just a redundant game mode at this point. Galactic and 1v1. I do like the idea of 1v1, but I think that they'd have to increase the rewards to really make it interesting again.
Yeah,
The easiest way to kind of fix it is to make it either weekly, monthly, or whatever they would classify as a season. Hell Arena kind of has it kind of where we want it, right? You have rotating buffed units that would be like maybe this week Taylor's buffed or whatever. And then also having side effects of like what we have right now with lower energy regeneration, what have you. If it's just a rotating 1v1 with you know those rules and certain buffed characters, I think it would breed a little bit more creativity. But as it is right now, it's early game. You build up your summoners until you can get your tanks, and then tanks get killed by built-out assassins, and that's kind of the rock paper scissors.
Yeah, it does appear that way, doesn't it? 100%. Okay, so I think that pretty much covers sort of the arena. So, what were you guys doing in? I know we discussed this before, but in Twilight, who was your MVP last time?
Oh, mine was Miranda this time. So summoner looks like support all around.
Yeah, yep. I think like I know Kyger's yours was Fiona, wasn't it?
Yep.
So I think that's going to sort of shift around to that next time round because she's just good with everybody, isn't she? Her mechanics work where they shouldn't do, where they should do, obviously. But she's good with teams that she shouldn't necessarily be with, like energy, right?
I think why Fiona was so big for me versus Miranda, where obviously Miranda is very good, is I am a spender, yes, but it was mostly on summons and such, and so I'm behind on gear, so I don't have those 300 accuracy or all my guild tech stacked up or whatnot, where Miranda really needs a butt ton of accuracy, and Fiona, while she does get a bunch out of accuracy, the minimum to get out of her is pretty low.
Right. Well, that must be an interesting challenge because it's like Dyla's been in the game since day dot. I was a little bit later. In fact, Dyla recommended the game to me, so that's why I'm playing it anyway. Thank you for that. But obviously for you, Kyger, you've joined the game significantly later, and obviously you're using your skills and whatever else to just develop and advance your characters. So some of the challenges you must be facing are things like class tech and etc. What are the other challenges that you find difficult in terms of catch-up mechanics?
It's mainly gear and the guild tech. If we're talking about catch-up mechanics, it would really just be breakthroughs would go a long way.
Yeah.
Or like if they just throw several breakthroughs on the guild achievement, you hit these milestones and you get some extra breakthroughs would help out.
Yeah, and what Kyger's referring to is the posts on the Facebook where they were talking about adding a new progression system into the game that would elevate old characters through a breakthrough mechanic. If anyone didn't really know what he meant by that.
Well, I was that's obviously a big thing as well, but I was referring to the guild breakthrough.
Oh yeah.
for
Okay.
upgrading it to 25. Because I have all my assassins at 20. My tanks are a couple at 20, most of them at 10 or 15, and then summoners at 10 each, and then everyone else at 5. So it takes a lot, but I also see the other end of that where Dialar, you probably have most of them filled out. So at that point, what do you do with the breakthroughs? Is the question, right?
Yeah, all mine are 2020, and I'm just working on 25 out of 25 now. I think they're going to have to add more bosses into Guild Hunt. But I also think that they should start over and have a new Guild Hunt with all new bosses, all new teams, because right now it's just basically what? It's a summoner team, it's an assassin team, and an energy team. Let's give us Guild Hunt version 2 with like tanks and hunters and something else.
Yeah, I
Well,
think
let's be
you're right.
honest. If there's a hunter one, it'll be an assassin one.
But before they do that, they really need to look at Ancient Order, don't they?
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely,
come on,
yeah.
you can complete that in week 2. It needs to be. We need new levels. I mean, they did even before they got rid of Rise of Heroes, they did what was the extra level they did? Was it Hell or something? I can't remember what it was, but they at least increased a level on that. But they're releasing new content. Don't get me wrong, that's great. But I think
Well, with on the Ancient Altar, I've done some looking at it, and 3 weeks into the game on a free-to-play account, you can do all but the highest tier.
it's madness, isn't it? Don't you think? It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the way that the game's structured, and I think Dialogue will probably agree, it used to be very, very PvE focused, which was a change from some of the games we've been playing, for example. But I think the rewards now are kind of leveling out, and I think that's something they've got right. I think you get kind of just as good rewards now for PvE as PvP content. What do you think?
They're getting there. I still say the PvE is probably better because just Endless and Twilight alone give us so much resources for our account. PvP, so Summit Arena is really only giving you good resources if you make top 16, which is a spender's game, unless you're extremely focused. I'm not saying that free to play can't get to the top 16, but in general they don't. And then Hell Arena is getting there. But then in the same breath, all of those really juicy rewards are reserved for the people that make it and finish in the upper class, the Hellfighter, which is also probably going to be a spender's game. So they got some work to do, but it's moving more towards PvP.
So how are you guys doing in Hell Arena at the moment?
Well, real quick on that topic of rewards, I think we've all said this. I know we've each said this before, and the biggest thing they need to do to upgrade or refresh rewards is change out the shops.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
oh yeah,
Red being like the capstone character in Galactic Arena is fine. I have no issues with that. But changing out all the others to move things around, it's also kind of weird that the only ones that are like shop exclusive units are Res and Helentis. In games like this, it's usually each game mode has their own character or thing you go after. Obviously, we have what you call it, triangle. Now we have the yellow gear that we have to get. So that's obviously the thing you go after there. The not triangle. What is it? The other 3 farming things. You have your gear, you have your commanders, and you have your prototypes. That all makes sense.
yeah.
But I think they need to change out the shops, especially the dismissal shop needs the biggest haul over,
Well, that's
because
the thing.
the biggest thing people are going to have is their blue and purple units that they're dismissing all the time, and the only thing you can get with those is food. We need,
Agree.
maybe a conversion of you for a bunch of the currency you can get a little bit of the higher currency, or you can get things like XP or rublites. Those aren't a big bottleneck, but just getting something besides food as an option would go a long way.
That's exactly what I said. I don't know if you remember, Kaiger, but you asked me pretty much the same question when I was on your channel. And I said about the shops, and I said about the dismissal shop, and exactly Kaiger's point that basically there needs to be, I don't care if it's 100 to 1, there needs to be an upgrade system for the lower currency that you can actually get up, because let's face it, it is all food, as Kaiger said. There's nothing decent to be get. I mean, the best you can get at the mid level is like elite tier hyper upgrades, which we've probably already done everybody that we're gonna do on that, and a few advanced tickets,
System rewards the long-term players because you probably have all your things, your blues and purples maxed out. So every other week or monthly, depending on how you do your summonings, when you do the Heroes Rally, you'll get a bunch of currency, and then you can do the transfer, and then that even opens up a little bit of astral tickets at the higher tier that you're able to get through just from doing a bunch of dismissals.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So obviously we've got a few new things in the game at the moment. We've got like Return to Giant Tower. We've got the Mimic Machine, which I quite like because it gives you what's in there at the moment. You got Titan Hammer, which I think is really useful, and WOM copies, which I don't have maxed out. Particularly to you, Kaiger, because I'm sure Dyla's probably maxed out most of these. How do you feel about the Quantum Mimic and what's that got to what? How are you feeling about generally that as a reward at the moment?
The that machine where you do the 3 things every day.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. Something that a lot of people haven't noticed is that same with Elite Chapter or Endless Battle, you can save the currency between. So like I think it's someone said it was 120 pools to do a full thing, and I forget how many you get naturally per thing, but it's 3 a day for 14 days. So 30, 42. So every 3, you can guarantee yourself everything. And that one is probably not the best for rewards. The best would be Endless Battles. But as far as that's probably a close second if you're willing to put in the $5, right? Because if you do the current one, you will spend $5 and you come out with 2 hammers and 2 Wama guns.
Exactly. I think that's the best value in the game. If you pull even just one of those, it's definitely worth the 5, isn't it? It's literally, if you are a spender, it's literally the most, I don't know, no-brainer move you can make.
They price those red prototypes at $100, so for $5 you get 2.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
And they price the characters at 40 to 60. So,
exactly.
So
what,
I'd say we got Galactic
something
Treasure
on
at the moment. Oh, sorry. Apologies. So we got Galactic Treasure at the moment as well. So that's going to guarantee you a gene hybrid. There's various other things in there, like you get 15 limited tickets and stuff like that. So that's also quite useful, isn't it? For everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good event.
And then you got Giant Tower. So this is the interesting one, because Giant Tower, they've got Dorothy. And obviously, Dyla, you've been delving a little bit into, you've had your Sherlock Holmes hat on, haven't you?
Yep, I called
Your
it.
magnifying glass. I can see you just like going through the streets, like looking at what's going on.
Get into the leak stuff, and you
Yeah,
were just saying giant tower. You were saying giant tower. It's not just giant tower. It's giant tower, hero rally, and wishlist banner
Yeah, the wish list I
all at
couldn't
the same
predict.
time.
yes, that's what I was going to tie it into.
Yeah, I was waiting for another wish list because I had said when the second one came around, I'm like, okay, two doesn't really make a pattern. I need to see a third wish list at roughly the same interval to be confident to say that that's going to be a thing going forward. So between the Ryzeris, Ampu, and Sorv wish list, we got the Barag, Jaina, Daniel wish list 6 weeks later,
Next week.
and now the Dora, Panda,
Horrible.
Masrani one 4 weeks later. So I'm going to just go out and say that it's going to be roughly every 4 to 6 weeks. They like to have it on the off week, not the main week. So it has to be 4 or 6. So just putting on the old Sherlock Holmes hat, I think if we get one October 5th, given the rotation and everything, it's probably going to be an Ares, Bailey, and Rickert wishlist banner. I'm going to say it here, and we'll see if it comes true.
Well, yes, we shall see indeed. But I've been pulling on Dorothy, and I started at Immortal Zero. I've managed to get her between the actual wish list and the event. I've got her to +2, and I think that's a good banner. +2 and +5 seem to be the ones for me. If you can get them to +2, that's great. +1, not so great. +3 and 4, but it's +5 because it +5 doubles all the stats, doesn't it? The EX stats.
Yeah, that's the big PvP stat.
Yeah,
I did 260s, like doing the full 60 twice on Panda, and now I have them maxed out. And based on that, I was able to get 2 copies of Dorley from the tower, so now she's at Immortal 2 as well, which I'm pretty happy.
Okay.
I just got to say before we move on this is that when people start to complain nowadays about the game not being as free to play friendly, these are extremely generous on their part. They don't have to do this. They want you to be able to catch up because they know that the Hell Arena modes, the upcoming PvP modes, I think they have alluded to having another one. They want everybody to be up there because other mobile games have proven this over time and time again that it's not the PvE stuff that's really going to drive you to spend. It's to beat your peers. So and I know a lot of people aren't PvP focused, and that's probably one of their downfalls is that they started so PvE friendly that the majority of players are probably PvE people. But they are trying to give everyone those catch-up mechanisms to get all these heroes to get up to a point where they're just a little bit closer, and they might open their wallet a little bit to just get a little even more closer to those whales that had to shill out a lot more at the beginning to get the same stuff.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not just a giant tower. It's a giant tower, a hero rally, and a wish list all at the same time, which is it just piles on. So the conservative player that saves resources and waits to pull, this is the game for you.
100%, 100%. I think it's always been quite generous in that respect, and I've certainly not felt like I've been like, I don't know, sort of blocked or stonewalled. I mean, I spend money, obviously, as all we all do here. But you can be smart with your resources in this game. And if I wasn't so impulsive, I could save for whatever I needed. And they do have big events that basically give you great rewards. And it's important to do that. I think I'm learning to do that a little bit more as I progress and sort of grow into the game more. I learn about when to pull and when not to pull. But going into, I mean, obviously we got a few. We've got Endless Battle going on at the moment. Obviously Reign of Idol. We've all done videos on, all three of us, on what we're kind of using at the moment in terms of that. But what do you think of the game mode in general, Endless Battles? Are you a bit like me? Do you become a bit obsessed, just trying to eke a little bit more of a score, or are you like, I've done this, I've done that, that's the best I can do, I'm done? How do you approach Endless Battle?
Go ahead, Tyler.
Okay, so like I know when Rise of Heroes got replaced by Endless Battle, everyone was lamenting because Rise of Heroes you could get one gene hybrid, 60 limited tickets, and it was guaranteed, and it was so easy. Like literally a 2-week old account could get through all of the stages leading up to the boss battle, and then it was just log in every day. You swipe all your normal battles, and then you go to the boss with your tickets, and you max it out, and you just go, and then you complete it, and you hit. And it was boring. It was boring and needed to be upgraded. I like endless battles because, like you said, when I had a guy in my shard that would push me, I was every day tweaking something a little bit more, rolling a little bit more gear, trying to stay ahead of him. But sadly, he's retired, and now I kind of have the shard to myself. But I see in my Alliance Discord how much people are still competitive, and even every day you see, oh, I got a little bit more, and then they're calling out their friend, come on, you got to get a little bit more. And I do really like the game mode. I am not going to let the developers off the hook though with the bingo. They said that they put in that arbitrary, okay, now you will get it no matter what at 27. I get the exact same rewards as before they implemented that as when they implemented that. So that whole arbitrary 27, auto completion is bull. That's just for optics. It didn't do anything.
But wasn't Rise of Heroes the same, but you just couldn't see the mechanics behind it?
It was a limited prize pool.
I think they said it was just optics, right? They said they were already doing it in the background. People were upset they didn't see the numbers, so they put the numbers on our face because that's what people wanted. But I do agree with the main idea of Dialer's brought this up before, that 30, at least with the current currency system, is a little high. I think 21, 24 is probably a super sweet spot.
Right.
Yeah, make it 21.
So it needs to be tweaked a little bit. That's what the consensus is here.
I'm fine with it. I just thought it was disingenuous of them to do what they did, as if they were doing us a favor when it really didn't do anything. And I'm fine. My free-to-play account can get almost all of the prototype shards. So if I can do that on my free-to-play account, then I think it's fair for anybody.
Okay. So
as far as how I'm on it is we figure out what the best team is the first couple hours, whatnot, and then every day I just do 2 to 3 runs just to get a good RNG run of it, because sometimes you have a bad run, sometimes you have a good run, and I do 2 or 3 runs a day just to have my good run, and I go about my business.
Yeah, because RNG can be in endless. For example, I can literally run the same thing on auto. Not all of them are on auto. I don't run the Assassin's one on auto ever. But I do run the Spider King's Guard. And the differential between 2 runs could be 3 million. It's a big difference, in terms of it's just if it hits right. And some of them are good for auto. I think most of us probably auto Spider, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and we also have last time around the MVP was Dominic, and this time it was Gina, right?
Yeah, I mean Jaina's huge. I would go as far to say that Jaina is more important energy-wise than Nord. If you look,
I don't think it's a question.
Yeah,
you don't think it's a question, so you're flat out yes. Is that right?
Yep, Gina.
Okay.
I use her in almost all my content.
There's me thinking I was contentious.
No, I haven't put the video out, but you know how we have the Crimson Rot level 7 through 10 that came out this morning?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it is quite actually difficult. But I made a video not using Nord for level 10.
Not using
not using Nord, but I used Nagrama instead and beat level 10 energy with no Nord. So
holy, what's it? That's quite cool.
Well,
but you needed Jaina.
The funny part is it's not hard because it's hard. It's hard because of how slow it spits out the spiders. So
when I did all the other up to 6, I actually did it with assassins because they spawn the spiders really quick, so you can kill them really quickly. And I tried it on 7. I was able to do 7 just fine, but when I went to 8 or whatever, it was a little bit harder. And the spiders was just not spawning fast enough for me to kill it in time. Had to go to an actual energy team to do it.
I had that with Jaina. There's nothing worse than Jaina having an ult ready and there's literally nobody on the field. And you're not doing damage to the main boss. So you're just like, well, what am I going to do with this ult? I've just got to hit it. And it's like, oh, that's just a complete waste. Do you know what I mean? Absolute waste. I found the only thing I found, like the main boss was no problem. I just found like that the prequel boss was like, I had to actually think about that a little bit. It wasn't difficult, don't get me wrong, but I had to manual a little bit just to get rid of Serena because she just heals too. She's like super healing, and I've just got
Even with your
got to
assassins?
manual on her with Dom and Rick to get rid of her. Basically,
yeah. Once she gets ulting, it kind of sucks.
yeah. So that's kind of what it was, but it's the only one so far that I've not used assassins on the main boss.
There just aren't enough spiders.
Yeah, but I don't know. But it's good that they're doing it, and the gear is great. It's great that they're doing this gear. I mean, I've got Jaina, like she's like insane now from what I've managed to do from the gear. I've got the full set, plus I've got one the +2 immortal stuff, which really does ramp her up. So in a way, I was doing my video earlier, and I'm like, listen, this can work with a just standard EX30 Jaina. Because I knew people were going to look at it and say, well, that's all right for you because you've got now, I don't know, nearly 1 million power Jaina. But it isn't like that. It's about using Flying Rune, about just smashing it as quick as possible. It's not necessarily, you know. I don't know. What do you? How far have you guys got on Immortal gear? And who's got your Immortal gear at the moment?
Oh, this is gonna be juicy. Kyger, you go ahead first.
Mm.
My thing is with my gear is all my gear kind of sucks across the board. I just don't have enough gear to have good stuff. So I have 2 pieces of Immortal Surge on Jaina, and I have 1 piece of Immortal Marauder on Caraxia, and that's it right now. Just I have enough stuff to do a couple more, but I don't want to put it on bad gear.
Yeah, that makes sense. You'll get gear in time. Like we said, me and Donks have been playing a while. We've had time to accumulate all that gear.
I 100% think you're right. Patience is a great game because I know Dave in my alliance. You know, me and Dave, we're on end this all the time. He put some gear. I think it was either Dom or Rick. But literally, the next run he got a perfect piece of gear. And he was so regretful that he didn't put that gear. He didn't save that Immortal to put it on that piece that he got. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you kind of got to be a little bit careful. If the gear ain't right, there's nothing wrong with like saving it and waiting.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It's also worth noting that the Immortal bonus itself is nice, but it's not going to make or break any content.
Yeah.
So since unlike you two, I don't use Jaina as much. For the surge pieces, I actually have my Wamagon decked out in almost full. 3 out of 4. Yeah, Wamagon. Because since tanks are second at the tip of the spear under assassins with Caraxia, or basically the meta if you take Caraxia out of it, you know, you put that 40%, and I'm almost going to have my boots up to level 2 on Wamagon. That's what, like 60, 80% extra HP? Haha, good luck.
Well, tell you what, I thought about
I thought you were doing the healer set on your Wamagon.
No, surge.
Yeah,
always surge on Wamagon.
But speaking of that, I was thinking about something a slightly different earlier. And I was thinking about the fact that I've got really good surge gear on Jaina, for example. And it was only literally, you know what it's like? It was only after the spider ended. And I thought, shit, I could actually put that stuff on Ares. Just literally throw Jaina's gear on Ares, and I'm going to get a better score in that dungeon.
Do you guys follow many of the other, like, do you follow Gameplay Horizon?
Yes, I watch gameplay.
I've done a few things with him, but I'm not a fan of the music he has in the background and stuff
Right.
like that.
So-
but he does do some cool stuff, like diving into specific prototypes and such.
Well,
I think that's really awesome.
The reason why I ask is because he advocates doing the top pieces first so that you can mix and match for all content. Because if you immortal like a crit rate surge glove, right? Like that's not, you can't use a crit rate surge glove on Ampu. So he's advocating actually having the pieces up top, the what is it, the chest, weapon, and legs, immortaling them so that you can mix and match them to your entire roster across all game modes. What do you guys think of that strategy?
I tell you what, I think it's a double-edged sword, if I'm honest, because I think if you can get a crit rate piece on Dominic, for example, and then max that out, and then it becomes like across the board more, and get all the stats on that, then he's going to be an absolute beast.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, there is limited. Everybody needs different stuff, don't they? And I put this in the video earlier because when I was doing Crimson Rot, and I'll use the bug gear as example. I've only got one crit rate gloves with bug gear, so I had to choose.
I think it depends on the set and depends on the group that you're doing it. For example, let's say I have a surge accuracy piece, right? That's going to be on Jaina. That's going to be on a couple other people. Or, we don't have any of the regular ones, but like Hawkeye accuracy, for example. Marauder damage reduction boots, I can throw on most people, for example. So it would depend on the set in my mind. But I think if you want an overarching rule, I think going weapon first is probably really good because that's going to give you a bunch of attack across the board. But that's, again, it's going to be dependent on you don't want to go weapon first if you're doing an item that's for your supports, right? Because you don't want to be giving your supports attack. You want to give them HP.
Mm-hmm.
So it's there's a lot of things to think about with that.
Cool. All right. Well, I was interested to see how you guys would
It's
what you take on that.
Very interesting point. I think it's going to need some testing, and I can really see it from kind of both sides. But I can understand where Gameplay Horizon is coming from with that, because mixing and matching, you're not going to get, especially when it comes to like. I mean, obviously we're only like we've mostly got a few Immortal 1s, maybe some Immortal 2s. But you're gonna want to be able to like flex gear around and move it, and if it's flexible to transfer to different traits or different classes, then that's going to be really helpful, isn't it? So yeah, I can kind of see it. I'm not sure about the level ones. I think level ones you kind of like just get the ones that you want, but it's definitely going to require a little bit more theory crafting, don't you think, guys? As they get to...
This also depends on where a player is in the game right now.
Yes.
So, like, if you're still working on clearing individual pieces of content, you should probably work on that, like characters that will help you clear the content you haven't cleared yet. And then you can think about these little sideways scenarios here, because I believe as we go, we're going to have 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, and 4-star. I believe as we progress, it'll be you'll have most of your characters with 1-star, characters that you use. Once in a while, you'll have your 2 stars. Characters you use pretty regularly, you'll have your 3 stars, and your cream of the crop. Currently, your assassins and tanks would be your 4 stars, for example.
Okay.
All
That
right.
makes sense. So, question for you guys: who do you think is going to be the? Obviously, assassins have been like clearly they've been driving them hard, and they are the current meta for like most content, pretty much most content. Tanks probably a close second. Who's coming up? Who's the next big thing?
Summoner.
Summoner.
It's telegraphed. They have to make the next SP a summoner because that's the only thing that's going to counter assassins.
Okay.
Yeah, even as it is right now, Phyrexia is the main way that assassins can beat summoners just because she's an AoE unit. But if you just go in with Bailey instead of Phyrexia, you will probably get rolled by summoners just because summoners attack lowest HP units, and the lowest HP units will be the summons, and how Ruler's Ring, Onpu, how all these things work is they want you to kill the trash, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what will be the mechanic that destroys assassins? Would it be some sort of CC? What do we think?
There's more stuff on the field.
The mechanic is So we already got the CC
Pure
with
speculation,
Anpu and Sorvali. People forget the Sorvali's Dreamgate negates displacements, which kind of stops assassins. So what they need is So Sorvali's kind of like a wasted unit too. With this new summoner coming in, that's probably going to replace Rez Mazrani or maybe even Sorvali as well. I don't know. I don't know. I think that they need just more. If we can lock down the assassins and then just nuke them.
But that's the
more
thing.
Summoners.
You can't lock them down with Fiona on the board, right?
All they got to do, and you've already seen it. There's a bunch of units in the game now that negate invincibility. All you got to do is give a summoner something that negates invincibility, and there you go. They're done.
Okay.
Like Helentis, Caraxia, they all negate invincibility. Jaina negates invincibility. They have that mechanic in game. All they gotta do is give that to an SP summoner. Totally negates invincibility. Now the SP assassin team is dead.
Okay, so another question, follow-up question. I know the answer to this. I know what you're both got to say as well. But who is the worst class in the game, and how can they fix it?
Hunters.
And I say energy.
Do you? We've all got different. I'm saying vanguards.
Yeah. Okay. Between those three, yeah, you can make an argument for either one.
So, how would you fix those issues? What can be done to elevate those characters? Theoretically, well, I mean, we're not making the game, we're not designing it.
How about we each put out the one that we mentioned? Like Tyler talked about energy, Donkey talks about vanguards, and I'll talk about hunters.
Well,
okay, let's do it.
Okay, let's do that. I'll start. I'll go energy. Energy. What energy needs is we need to replace Luke first and foremost because he's just basically used for the AoE defense down. We need another back row nuker like Jaina. And we need a frontliner because right now you're pulling either Leo or like they tried to do it with Vagueness and as a frontliner for energy, specifically for energy, because you've seen summoners. Now summoners are going to have 2 frontliners. Assassins have mechanics built up so they don't need a frontliner, and they have the Assassin's Cloak with mitigates damage. With energy, you just basically burn them all down, or you chuck tanks in the back. Like, we need something to protect the team, because if they can't get rolling, then they're dead. So I'd say first and foremost, they need some kind of frontliner that maybe prevents people being chucked into the back line, like just like he jumps up and like catches it catches them and chucks them back or something like that. That's what energy needs.
I'm thinking like a frontline kind of unit that puts a shield sort of like a Miranda that just says if you enter this shield, you get stunned on entry. would be
Yeah.
really helpful.
I think
So what-
with Vanguards personally, they need a single target DPS that will target the lowest. Literally, that will go to the back line and target the lowest HP. Whoever's dropping out, just to finish it, because Vanguards can go forever and lose. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So they
that's
need
true.
Vanguard seems super confused when you look at it, right?
Yeah.
We have two bleeds in the game. One that goes off of attack, the other goes off of defense, and we have one prototype for Vanguard's offensive one, and it's based off of bleed, but they're not giving us any bleed units.
Yeah, I mean, they really messed up with Guan Yu, didn't they?
Yeah, I agree.
They messed up with Guan Yu. But yeah, I mean, I think all of those. I mean, what we need, I think ultimately what we all want to see is a balance. I don't know, balance synergies between teams.
Well, you probably don't want to, but if the summoners get this OPS SP, I think we are in a balance of actual rock paper scissors, right? You'll have summoners that could beat assassins that beat tanks, and ideally tanks beat summoners. Because the tanks do all the AoEs, they group everyone up and they AoE them all down. So I mean, obviously it sucks for the other three classes, but an actual rock paper scissors is balance.
Yes, it's true. It's true, and what needs to happen is that obviously there needs to be continuations in a game where certain people be brought in that can deal with certain mechanics. But it needs to be the fact that you can actually develop a character to make them really strong as well. So it is a very strong balancing act, as you say, Kaiga. But hopefully we can. They're doing good things with it. I mean, as we said before in the video that I messed up, but for a long time, Summoners didn't even have a single prototype that worked for them.
Yep.
But now they're bringing out stuff for all classes. I would like to see a new class.
That would be really cool to think about. To quickly wrap up this topic that we were having, hunters, they are very similar to assassins in the fact that they are more than the sum of their parts. You have Moriyami and a couple others that boost each other up. You have a Xena that boosts someone up, and they're all working on doing a thing, and that thing is attack speed. There's nothing wrong with attack speed. Attack speed allows you to do your ultimates quicker.
Yeah.
The issue they run into, Rebecca tries to cure up one of them as having them be a little bit tankier. But as far as actual PV, like they're actually, if we had to do just a pure DPS test and PVE, they're probably one of the top. But when we talk about PvP, they get wrecked by any kind of stuns, knockdowns, what have you, and that's really their weakness, is stopping them from doing what they want to do.
Rebecca saved them for about a week, didn't she? Before Tarish come along and just threw like one into the back line or whatever, and it was like, no, she can't do what she was doing anymore.
If Rebecca gave a few less shields and said while they have this shield they can't be CC'd, I think we would have hunters as one of the meta PvP
wait.
teams.
How about this idea? This is what I've been thinking about for hunters. So you know how we have Doralee that spawns the big old Doragon, and he acts as a tank, and then she jumps to the back. You know, hunters often have pets in a lot of games, right? Why don't they make a new hunter that has 2 big old bear pets? One gets summoned and goes in frontline tank, and the other one can have a built-in mechanic that if any units get to the backline, it goes to the backline and stuns them instantly. Because that would allow them just to nuke the tank that gets chucked to the backline if it is stunned instantly.
Right.
And then the front one tanks everything else. That would make hunters awesome, in my opinion. And that's an easy fix.
There's tons of new character ideas we can have. I was trying to look at what we currently have in game. Like I said, I think if Rebecca's shields, because right now having 5 shields that all say no CC sounds a little much, but if it was 3 shields of no CC, I think that would be really powerful. Or let's say a Xena, for example, that gives a buff to her teammate. If she did like a focus thing on that, like whoever the person she puts that thing on, all hunters attack that unit. I think that would be really powerful, right? You get to focus down one thing and go from there.
Yeah, there's lots they can do.
100%. We should ask for jobs in the game, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, so
literally call it Hunter's Mark, and you're done.
yeah, Hunter's Mark. Yeah, like Dom's Mark. It's like everybody goes ham. That'd be mental. So last big question for you guys. I asked this before. What's your best and worst things about EE at the moment?
So I'll start with the black pill. The thing that I dislike is the cloak and dagger of the VIP system.
Okay.
I think the actual VIP system as it is totally fine. I think a lot of games do this. I think if no one knows what I'm talking about, you spend money in the game, you get extra you get extra stuff at the end of the month. I think there's no problem with that. No issues. The only issue is the cloak and dagger of it. You can't talk about it. The only way to be part of it is to be almost VIP 11, get a pop-up in game, add a guy on Discord, and message him every month. That feels gummy and feels shady. If everyone was just automatically in it, I think no one could say anything about it.
Yeah.
As far as the thing I like about it, I'm going to try not to steal Dialer's answer. If it's the same we talked about last time.
Yeah, it's okay. Let her rip.
What was it? The thing I like most about the game is the prototypes and commanders system, letting you mix and match a bit. I'm not a fan of the whole gearing process. That just takes forever. But something as far as we have Hagridon or whatever his name is that talks about assassins or vanguards. I like that style unit, but I dislike the style of unit of Cabal says assassins, you put it on the assassin team.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. What are you saying, Dada?
So I'll start with my best. What I like the best, this was the same answer as yesterday, is that I like that this game respects my time. That's number one. I'm over 40. I don't, I already went through a divorce due to World of Warcraft sucking up, raid nights and whatnot like that. So this is a game where I can literally, if I didn't do my content creator stuff, I could literally log in and be done in 30 minutes and have nothing else to do. And that's it. That's my little game fix for the day. So I love the fact, and is my favorite part of this game, that it respects my time greatly. Like you can use the fact that you can do everything in 10 battles at a time and get all the rewards in chunks. Brilliant. That is fabulous. I hate mobile games that make me sit there and watch it play on auto for a half an hour on one game mode. That's my favorite. My thing that I dislike the most is how they rolled out the SP heroes. I think that it was scummy. I think that it is way overpriced, and I will give them the benefit of the doubt if the next one comes with a bunch of catch-up mechanics. I'm okay with giving the Krakens their free meal for 3 months, because they did say that we were going to get one every quarter, which means one is coming in October. If the next one comes with catch-up mechanics where the free-to-play can get more astrals, I will give them a pass on the first one. But if they do not change that, the SP hero is the worst thing that they could have done for this game. It is driving the most people out of the game. I hope they come back. But once people leave a mobile game and they have, you lose that progression for a couple months, most people just move on to another game. So that's my 2.
Well, we had a similar situation. Literally, it's not the guy's fault, but somebody won Summit that would never have. Well, to be fair, they did finish in the top 4, but there's a lot of egos involved, and somebody won Summit that didn't win Summit before because of Corexia, and as a result of that, a few strong people quit. And I don't necessarily agree with that in terms of should they have done that. I think it's a little bit salty. But they do need to look at it. They do need to look at it as a thing going forward. In terms of what I feel about what I like and what I don't like about the game, I like the fact that they give lots of new content, and even the content that they've got going, they basically always revisit it. So if you look at Twilight, etc., there's new bosses, there's lots of new stuff coming out, and I love that, and I find that challenging, and it gives me excited. I get excited when Twilight comes out. I think it's a great thing. It's really exciting. I know it for people particularly like me and you, Dyla, maybe even you already, Kyger, but it's quick, but it is a race, and it's adrenaline, and I love it. And I love to be able to beat Dave, for example. You know what I mean? Me and Dave were always at it, and without Dave, life would be a lot more boring for me without Dave, because he's very technical. He's very good at what he does, and we always have a good race to the top of whatever content we're doing. In terms of what I don't particularly like, I'm not a massive fan of the way the SP system is at the moment. That's not me being salty or anything. I just think it's kind of exclusive, and it rules out a lot of players. And I'm thinking more about a lot of people. I could, if I wanted to, I could have gone and got Corexia. I chose not to because I want to just continue the game in a normal person's sort of vernacular, if you like. Just doing it as I can. And I found there are ways around it. I found Helentis is amazing. Very, 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 very good character. In anything outside of melee content, not just PvP, but it's melee content that she particularly isn't amazing in. But she's very good in non-melee PvE content as well. So PvP, obviously, she's, as you said, Kyger, I'm not going to steal this off you. Kyger mentioned when I messed up my last video that she's actually like an SP hero in Hell Arena, didn't you?
Oh, Dyler had that comment. Mine was that what I like about her is not so much people will look at her and see her kit that she has an ultimate and one common skill and say, oh, that's, not really much going on. But you remember that every one of both of those skills are displacement type skill, which triggers the Marauder. It triggers Fiona. She has buffs from all the other assassins. So while looking at her herself, it doesn't look like much outside of Hell Arena. if you remember, assassins are more than the sum of their parts,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what's going on.
Yeah. Well, apologies, Tyler. I mixed up who said that. But
Oh,
anyway,
no worries. I think we both said that.
I think it's been amazing speaking to you guys. It's always a pleasure, and it always goes far too fast. Tell us a bit about yourselves, guys. Start with you, Kyga. Who are you? Where are we going to find you?
Yeah, so I'm Kiger. I got 2 channels. My main channel, I just stopped covering a game because they added crypto to that game. Not really happy. Looking for something to cover over there. I'll probably dabble in a few other things. Over here, I have the Kyger Eternal Evolution, where it's mostly guides, updates, things like that. And all 3 of us, including a few other content creators, next week are planning to do a free-to-play series. So check that out.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely mental. I can't wait. Literally can't wait. It's going to be fun. Dialer, over to you,
All
bro.
right. So,
Give us your
Dialar's
bits.
Twi'lek Tactics on YouTube. I'm never changing that name, even though I don't cover Star Wars games anymore. I am the arch nemesis of the PIV, the Prince of Leaked. And yeah, so I'm sure the majority of the people watching this probably know of my channel. That's my only game I cover. I only like to cover one game at a time. I dabble in other games, but I just don't have the time to cover them as fully as I do this one, unless I want to get a second divorce. So yeah, so you can catch me for everything Eternal Evolution content related over on that channel.
Okay.
Well,
Listen.
that's just another Caraxia for you, right?
Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. I can't even speak. Absolute pleasure having you guys on. Listen, I'm going to post links to their description, their channels in the description. Fucking hell, I can't even talk. I'm going to post their links in the description. But anyway, as usual, I've been Donks. You've been amazing. So's Kyga. So has Dialer. And yeah, peace out. Have a good night. Love you all. Take care. Bye.